Ever feel like your emotional volume control is stuck on mute? Like you're physically present, but mentally and emotionally, you've simply checked out. Like you're at the dinner table with your family, but your mind is still drafting emails, strategizing, or simply elsewhere. Yeah, me too. And today, we're diving into the sneaky ways we detach, especially when the hustle gets too real. We're talking about that subtle, almost subliminal slide into emotional absenteeism. Absenteeism. Yeah, that's right, absenteeism. You know, the kind where you're still going through those motions, but the joy, the connection, and the life force of it all is just dimmed. It's like you yourself are a dimmer switch, and somewhere along the line, you started turning it down. Why is this? What makes us emotionally detach and believe in our own martyr story? Well, but first, hi, welcome to the Wolverine Lifestyle Podcast, where personal growth meets deep thought and introspection. I am your host, Dillon Andres, and in this episode, we are exploring my personal journey through the journal prompt, exploring emotional detachment. When do you emotionally detach from situations? What is the root cause of this detachment? Now, listen up. You're driven, ambitious, and constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in your life. If you weren't, you wouldn't be here listening to this podcast episode right now. So this likely is going to hit close to home for you because, let's be honest, we're often told that our drive is our superpower. But what happens when that superpower starts to drain us instead of empower us, disconnecting us from the very things that give our life meaning? Well, now let's get into it. I sat down with my journal and I asked myself, when do I emotionally detach? And the answer, as it often does, comes with a wrenching gut punch of clarity. It wasn't a dramatic movie-style moment at all. It was more like recognizing a pattern that's been playing out on repeat throughout my life. A pattern that many of us fall into. When I am working too much and out of balance with rest and play, I begin to detach from other areas of life. It's that subtle shift, right? You're not screaming at anyone. You're not throwing things. You're just less there. You're turning down the dial. Your playtime gets shorter. The moments with loved ones feel rushed. And even your pets, those furry little balls of unconditional love, get only a fraction of your attention. And here's a little lovely additional punch to the gut. This is usually the step before that lovely burnout. It's like your body's emergency brake, but instead of it stopping you, it's just slowing you down to a crawl. Kind of like the engine of your car when it decides to go in limp mode because there's something internally wrong with it. We've all heard the stories of high achievers who sacrificed everything for their goals, only to find themselves empty at the top. It's a classic tale, a universal metaphor, the golden cage. You achieve everything you thought you wanted, but you're trapped, disconnected, my mistake, and deeply unfulfilled. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the golden cage metaphor, it basically describes a situation where someone is materially comfortable and secure, but lacks freedom or fulfillment. It suggests a luxurious lifestyle that traps the individual, limiting their autonomy and ability to pursue happiness or their own desires. This can apply to various contexts, such as relationships, careers, or social structures, where perceived benefits come at the cost of personal liberty or self-expression. While the cage itself might be beautiful, the individual remains confined and unable to experience genuine freedom. Why does this happen? Well, I know for myself, it's rooted in fear. That nagging, insidious voice that whispers, "You're not doing enough. You're falling behind." And what's our instinctive response? Well, I push harder. It's not the right thing to do, but it's what I do. We also work more. We sacrifice self-care. And this is all on the altar of productivity. Whenever I feel myself begin to slip into fear or scarcity, I tend to push myself harder to accomplish more. It's like we're trying to outrun our own anxiety, but all we're doing is running ourselves into the ground. And the worst part, we're masters at justifying this to ourselves. I'm sure you've told yourself this: I'll relax when I finish the project. I'll spend time with them when I have more time to spend. But the truth is, there's always another project, there's always another deadline, and there's always another task to add to our lovely, never-ending to-do list. So let's talk about the root cause here. The thing that's been lurking in the shadows, pulling the strings, the root cause of this series of unfortunate events, I believe, is a subconscious martyr complex, or also known as victim mentality. You know what I'm talking about. The woe is me narrative that we tell ourselves. Even if we never admit it out loud, it's that belief that we have to suffer, sacrifice, and carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. It's the belief that our worth is tied to our ability to endure. And here's the truth. This isn't about being a victim. It's about recognizing a pattern, this belief system that's been holding us back. Many studies in psychology have shown that our subconscious beliefs heavily influence our actions. When we believe we have to suffer to succeed, we create situations where we suffer. When we believe we are responsible for everything, we burn out. But here's the good news. Just because we've spent years building these patterns doesn't mean we can't break them. What years of experience in this field has taught me is that the importance is not in the mental state we strive to hold every day. It's in the conscious choices that we make from moment to moment and being able to course correct our thoughts when they start going off the deep end. I'm going to say that again. The importance is not in the mental state we strive to hold each day. It's in the conscious choices we make from moment to moment and being able to course correct our thoughts. It's about recognizing those moments when the fear kicks in, when the martyr complex starts whispering in your ear, and then consciously choosing a different path. It's about learning to say no so we can prioritize self-care and understand that rest is not a luxury. It's a necessity. This is where the Wolverine Lifestyle comes in. It's not about being perfect. It's about being relentlessly, authentically you. It's about embracing the messy, the imperfect, and the ongoing journey of self-discovery. We, you and I, we're in this together. We're learning to turn up the volume on self-awareness and turn down the dial on self-neglect. We're learning that our worth is not tied to productivity, but our ability to connect, to love, and to live fully. So here's my challenge to you. Take some time this week to journal on this prompt. When do you emotionally detach? What's the root cause? And what small steps can you take to reconnect? Because here's the truth. You don't have to do this alone. Working with someone who understands the struggle, who has walked the path, can be transformative. It's about having a guide, a partner, someone to help you navigate the chaos and rediscover joy. I've been there. I've lived the burnout, the emotional detachment, the martyr complex, all of it. And I've learned that it is possible to break free. It's possible to build a life that's both successful and fulfilling. Remember, you're not alone. You're not broken. You're a part of the Wolverine Lifestyle movement, and you're capable of incredible things. As always, thank you for joining me for this episode of the Wolverine Lifestyle Podcast. If it resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need it. It's the best way to get this message out there. And if you're ready to take a step further into your own self-exploration journey, grab my free ebook, 30 Days to Know Yourself. The link will be in the show notes, along with all of the other links to the rest of my socials and resources. Until next time, remember, in a world that glorifies hustle, true success lies not in achieving more, but in reconnecting with yourself and embracing the joy of the journey.